My name is Jen Cushman. I am empathic intuitive and I am an energy practitioner. And welcome to Magic Mondays. I am also a hypnotherapist, and today's topic relates to hypnotherapy. And that's what I want to talk to you about. So today's talk is about dream analysis and dream interpretation. And I just want to talk about that because I do have a brand new offering on this, and I just want to give you guys some information about it. So, dream therapy, if you guys know what it is, if you haven't heard of it, the 10-second $10 explanation of what dream therapy is that you work with somebody who has qualifications, so a therapist, a clinician, somebody like myself who is a trained and certified hypnotherapist, to be able to help you with your dream analysis and your dream interpretation. So it really is, dreams are explored with the help of a therapist, or a clinician or a holistic integrative health practitioner, such as myself, to be able to understand what your subconscious is telling you that really helps understand the stressors that you have in your life. So that's kind of that's the short answer of what dream interpretation is. The interesting thing about dream interpretation is that it has been around forever, you guys, absolutely ever. Uh, Sigmund Freud wrote his book in 1900. He wrote The Interpretation of Dreams, and he really used dream interpretation very widely in his therapeutic techniques and his psychoanalysis. Now, at the same time, a colleague of Freud came around, and I'm sure you guys have heard of him. His name was Carl Jung. Okay. And Jungian dream analysis has really kind of become the gold standard of dream analysis over the years. Now, Jungian dream analysis, and I have friends of mine. I have a woman, you guys have met her. Her name's Dr. Adrienne Campbell. She has her doctorate degree in Jungian dream analysis, and it is very complicated. There's a lot going on with that. So that is, that is a whole process for doing that. And I don't really want to go into that today. But what I do want to tell you is it's very interesting because Freud, with dream analysis, Freud believed that dreams were the subconscious or the unconscious mind's way of covering up, concealing the subconscious thoughts, right? So it's his thoughts were that the subconscious did dreams in order to conceal our thoughts, emotions, feelings, the things that we are working through. Now, Jung's theory is that no, it's actually the opposite of that, that the dreams that we have are the subconscious way, the unconscious mind way of revealing very important details and information, because when we are sleeping, it is when our unconscious mind is awake and active and working through, again, those stressors that are happening in life, the events that are happening, maybe trauma or things that happened in your past. It's our unconscious mind way of working through symbolism and symbology to help us while we're sleeping uncover those deeper messages and meanings. So it really is a revelatory tool as opposed to a concealing tool. So those are the two theories about dream analysis. And me personally, and the studies I've done, and through the hypnotherapy, I believe in the role of it to be a revelatory tool. Okay. So that's what I really love. So I have been, as you guys know, I've been doing training in Huna, which is ancient Hawaiian shamanistic tools and practices for the healing arts. And during Huna, along with the training in neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy, I learned a really interesting way of doing dream analysis. So it works with the unconscious mind and the conscious mind in harmony, so that you can bring this information from the crazy, weird dreams, right? How many of you have been like that is such a crazy, weird dream. And you wake up in the morning and you actually remember it. And you're wondering, what in the world does that mean when I'm sitting on a pink cloud and I'm riding an orange elephant? And my mother comes down to have a conversation with me, and then it morphs into my high school boyfriend, right? That's just an idea of how crazy the dreams can be, right? And you wake up and you wonder, whoa, that is really weird. What does a pink cloud and an orange elephant have to do with my mother and my boyfriend? And most of us just kind of laugh it off. And, we tell our best friends, my gosh, you're not going to believe this weird dream I had. And, we go from there. And what I am really learned through my trainings is there is so much information, personal information to be gleaned from analyzing your own dreams. Now, a lot of us, again, we can get a dream dictionary, we can go online, there's a lot of books on dream analysis. We can go down the path of analyzing our own dreams, and it's an amazing, interesting study, okay? And here's what I have to tell you about that. What I have really learned from the unconscious mind is that we are meaning-making machines. Human beings are meaning-making machines. It means that the way that we use language is so personal to us. It's how we interpret our life, our meaning, the way we see things, that language, what something means to one person doesn't mean the same thing to you. So for example, my husband and I, as you guys know, we have been married for 30, going on 32 years. We've been together for 40 years because we're high school sweethearts. We know each other so incredibly well, and we think we're on the same page. We think we're talking about the same thing. And then all of a sudden we'll start having an argument about it. And then we'll be like, wait a minute, we're both saying the same thing. It's just that we are saying them differently. We have different meaning to the words. So since I've been doing my training, I'll stop and I'll be like, wait a minute, what does a happy life mean to you? Specifically, how do you live happy? What are the choices and the decisions and the behaviors you do to be happy? So it's like unwinding that slinky. It's really learning what is that meaning for me. What does happy mean for me versus what does happy mean for you? What does it mean to Kelly? What does it mean to Jesse? What does it mean to Isabella, who's on here? Happiness can mean very different things to other people. The problem with a dream dictionary is you can buy these cool dream dictionaries and they're going to tell you that a cloud, symbolizes spirituality. And that's awesome. A cloud does symbolize spirituality. It does symbolize, a higher perspective. All those things that are very consciously aware of what a symbolism means. And yet a cloud can mean something very different to me than it means to you. So you can look at the dream dictionaries, you can use them as a guide. And then what I'm giving you some tips and information on is make sure that you check in with yourself and be like, what does that symbol mean to me? Okay. Here's another example of that. When I first started getting my symbolic sight, that means that I was becoming clairvoyant on a more regular basis. I was getting my clairvoyance was coming in, the gifts were starting to come in, the skill was starting to come in, and I was starting to see images. See, I close my eyes when I do it, you guys. So when I was starting to see images in my third eye, which is called symbolic sight when you're working with psychic intuition, when I was starting to get things, what happened is spirit was sending me symbolism. It was sending me messages. And then it was my job as the intuitive of my own life. I wasn't doing this for other people at the time. It was my job to figure out what did those symbolic symbols mean for me, so that way I could relay the information to others. So I have become very good about interpreting my own symbolic images that spirit gives me. And then when I'm in a reading with you guys, I will say, I will close my eyes because it's right here in my third eye. And I will say, my spirit team is showing me a red bicycle right now with a bell, right? Now, to my client, that could mean a couple of things. That could mean that they actually had a red bicycle with a bell when they were a child, and they would ride and they would take that bell. And for them, that signified a time in their life that was extreme happiness and freedom. And that is, excuse me, guys, let me take a drink. That is a metaphor, a story that my team is using to communicate through me with my clients in order to get them to identify with that state again and show them that they once were able to be in a happy state and that they can get into that happy state again. Okay, that's one meaning of being able to take them from the symbology, the metaphor of the red bicycle into what's happening and relevant to their life today. To another person, a red bicycle might just mean freedom. It just might mean that sense of personal freedom, being able to get on a bicycle, pedal it yourself, do it yourself, and as a vehicle for moving from one thing to another. So the red bicycle might be the metaphor for taking action. And you can see that the red bicycle metaphor of taking action is completely different than the red bicycle memory of childhood. Okay, are you guys following me here? Please put some hearts in with your following, because I'm trying to draw links in my teachings today, and I want to make sure that it's resonating and landing with you. So if it's resonating, thank you, you guys. The hearts help me know that it's landing. Back to the dream dictionary. Again, you can look up red bicycle, you could look up cloud, you can look up pink balloon, you can look up all of those things. And the art to it is, how does it relate to you? That's what's important, okay? We all have to go back to how it relates to us. Great. So I'm just looking at my notes really quick. Let me make sure I sure have this. Oh, I do want to go back on that note. This is a perfect time to go back. Freud is actually quoted with saying that the interpretation of dreams is the royal road to knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. I love that. You know what I mean? Like, that is such a brainy way of saying it. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. So really what he's saying, it's the royal road, or in my metaphor, it would be the yellow brick road. I love the Wizard of Oz. It would be the yellow brick road that you would follow, the path that you would follow, so I can have more knowledge of my unconscious mind, right? So I can get to know myself better. And anytime that I get to know myself better, and then I can have more knowledge of who I am. When I know who I am, then I can be who I am, right? And then I can do the things I'm meant to be, and I can have the things I have to have, you know, that I want to have, that I choose to have. You know, that's manifestation. And it all starts with knowing yourself and knowing who you are. So when you can know your unconscious mind as well as your conscious mind, then you know yourself on a much deeper, layered, nuanced level. And that's what dream analysis and dream interpretation can do, as it helps you on your path. Okay, so good. So what I want to do is, I just want to tell you a couple of the benefits of dream analysis, dream therapy, and working with integrative practitioner on this. Okay. Well, one of the things I do want to tell you is that the dream interpretation is very niched. So as far as clinicians or therapists, that it's a very niche thing. Most people do not specialize in dream analysis. Okay. There are hypnotherapists that actually have the niche in dream analysis. And so it's not the easiest thing to find if you go on and find a licensed or certified, you know, practitioner who can help you do this. So that's what I want to tell you, that it is a little bit harder to find. And lucky for you, I actually am able to do that, right? So if this is something that interests you, I have the skills and the ability to do that. I have the hypnotherapy side of things, and I have the artistic brain that I have, and I have the intuitive ability to help walk you through the process of dream analysis if that's something you choose to do. Okay? That's what I wanted to tell you. Now I want to go to the benefits of it really quick. That is that, again, by having dream analysis, it strengthens both your communication and knowledge of your unconscious mind and your conscious mind. Why? Because you are taking your unconscious mind and those metaphors and the symbology and the symbolism that your unconscious mind is using, you're bringing them up to the surface of your conscious mind, and then you are interpreting those with your language and the way you model the world with your information, and you're melding those two together. When you can strengthen your connection with your unconscious mind and your conscious mind, and you bring in your higher self, that is gold. That is how you live your life in alignment and being Pono, so you can be the person you want to be, do the things you're meant to do, and have the things you're meant to have. It is the alignment of the higher self, the unconscious mind, and the conscious mind that allows that path to happen. And dream analysis is a great tool for strengthening the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. Okay. The other thing about dream analysis is that it's going to give you insight into your feelings and your mood and what's happening to you at the time of your dreaming. Okay. So a lot of us go through our days without having a chance to do introspection. We don't have a lot of quiet time. We don't really have time to self-reflect when we are in the daily grind of, work and kids and living and feeding ourselves and trying to get an exercise and all the things, right? All the things make it more difficult to be able to do introspection. When you can strengthen your memory of your dreams, and you can actually start doing some dream analysis, have a dream journal, have a tape recorder, have something to just capture those snippets of dreams, you can actually start to develop that better self-reflection time. You can write those things down in a journal or have it on a snippet. And then when you do have time in your life to be able to do self-reflection, you can use those metaphors and that symbology of your unconscious mind to help you in that self-reflection. So that's a benefit. Okay. Again, it explores your symbology, the way you see the world, how you make meaning of particular words, of images, of labels, right? All of that helps you know your model of the world better. That's helping you know yourself. It is a positive, it can be a very positive self-care ritual. If you start a dream journal, and you want to, or you start having, writing those things down, then it can be a self-care. It can be like, you know what? This is a time for me. This is a time when I'm going to focus just on myself and learning about myself. So whenever we do self-care and we focus on ourselves and only ourselves in that moment, then we have positive benefits and positive results from that self-care routine. The last thing is that one of the most helpful things is that if you have chronic nightmares or you have a chronic recurring dream in your life and it has actually got a tinge of fear, or it's frightening, or it's unsettling, and it is a common thing that happens again, dream analysis and working with a certified person, a holistic integrative practitioner, can help you get to the root cause and uncover more of that frightening or disturbing symbolism, so you can help clear the emotional baggage around it, and you can start being more aware of why and what your unconscious mind is wanting to release. Okay. So that's really the benefits of it. And what is it that else I wanted to tell you? Oh, the last thing for my artist friends, you guys, I've talked to you about this a lot. Artists, creatives, we are very in touch with our unconscious mind. we know what symbolism, when we are actually working and we are making a piece of art and we are working with the imagery of it, we are already tapped into spirit. We are tapped into source. Okay. Now, here's a secret, you guys. Every human being is always tapped into source. It doesn't matter if you're an engineer like my husband and a computer engineer. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist. It doesn't matter if you do a very detailed um, you know, uh, what is it? Left brain, right? So very detailed, right? Yeah, left brain job. I always get left brain and right brain confused. So if you're doing a very detailed job, it doesn't matter. We are naturally, as human beings, always tapped into source energy if we so choose to. If we believe we are and we so choose, then we are tapped into source and spirit. And that being said, it is easier for those of us that are in the arts, the creative brains, more of that right brain, right? To be able, is it right brain or left brain? Somebody help me on that, you guys. Anyway, whatever it is, we are more tapped into it because we actually are more tapped into music. We're more tapped into imagery. We're more used to dealing with the symbology. So for those of us that are already more skillful at it, it's actually very easy to start the dream interpretation process because it's like the pump is already primed for it. Okay. So for you guys in my community, again, the creatives, the healers, the feelers, right? This is going to be easy stuff for you. Or it should be. It'll be easier for you to be able to get started and to work on and maximize. Okay. Great. It sparks creativity and it balances out our, our unconscious symbology with our conscious symbology. So it can be a great harmonizer and equalizer. Okay, great. Let me see. And then the only other thing I really need to tell you about dream analysis or dream therapy in any way that you do it is that it is much better, easier for us. I don't know about better, but easier. It is much easier if you ever go to have a dream analysis done by a trained person for it. It's much easier for you to come in with the knowledge and the belief that this is more of an art than a science. Okay. Whenever you're dealing with the unconscious mind, you are dealing with the artistic way of working with people, and the unconscious symbology. So it really is more of an art than a science. And the coolest part about the dream analysis and what I was taught, because it is NLP, there is a very interesting, very straightforward way of leading you through the dream analysis. And so, like everything else that I love in the journey that I've been doing with NLP and all of the other things, it is really the merging of art and science. It is taking the creative energy and the intuitive energy, and it is also learning the structure of language and also the neuroscience and the science behind it, so I can merge art and science. I can merge creativity and spirituality. And that is my love and my interest right now. Okay. So that's it. That's what I really wanted to tell you about dream analysis. And I just wanted to let you know that I have really done my practice. I've done my work, and I actually have a new offering. It's on my website, and I can do dream analysis right now. So if you want a dream analysis session, it's on my website. It's $88. It, takes about 30 to 45 minutes. I will. Now, let's say you only have an inkling of a dream. Like, let's say I had this weird dream. It revolves a pink elephant and it revolves my mother. And I really don't remember anything else from that. It's fine because of my ability to do hypnotherapy. I can just take you back into that dream. So we will actually do a session with a hypnotherapy session. I will take you right back to that dream. We will ask your unconscious mind to bring that dream up so we can get the details of the dream. We can flesh out those details. So then we can take it to the conscious mind, and then we can start analyzing it with the conscious perspective and the unconscious mind, so you can get a really nice overview of what exactly that dream is trying to tell you and what you're working through. So it's just very, very cool. Okay. So that's the new session I'm offering, and I'm really excited to tell you guys about that. Okay. So does anybody have any questions? At this moment, I would love if you have any questions. You can pop them in the chat. You can send me an email on them, or, you can just book a session and experience it, right? Oh, I just thought about something. Here is a question on that. A lot of people, when I was talking to friends of mine, they're like, that's really, really cool, but I never remember a dream. I never, ever remember a dream. So I'd love to do a session on you, but I can't think of anything that I would do a session on. So that's perfectly fine. This is something that you can do if you're interested in it. Usually what happens is we only dream during the REM sleep. So we will come out of a REM sleep and we will have a slight awakening. That's where, if you can put a journal beside your bed, or you can have a voice recorder, and even if you just wake up and you just grab it for a second and you say, "Pink elephant, my mother," and you put it down, that at least is the beginnings of starting to have more communication with your dreams. The other thing is that I can do it on lucid dreams. I can do it on awake dreams, because our brain naturally moves into different wavelengths even when we're awake. We will go from beta to alpha, down to theta, and our brain naturally goes into these different states. You know that this is true because how many times are you driving the car and you're just driving your car, and the next thing you know, you arrive at your destination and you literally don't know how you got there because you were just consciously driving. Your unconscious mind learned how to drive, so you just put the car into gear and you're just kind of floating in and out of brainwave states. So you can do that we can actually work on a conscious dream as well. So a lucid dream, that's dreaming while awake. Okay, great. Let me see, let me see what it says. Oh, Vicky, I love it. I love the way you present information. Thank you, Vicky. I love being a teacher. Being a teacher is really, honestly, my most favorite thing to do, and it is in my top values. So it's my favorite thing. So thank you for the feedback and the compliment, my friend. I appreciate it. And then Vicky says, I have a hard time falling back to sleep when a dream wakes me up. How to fall back to sleep. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, Vicky. That's where, that's where the old things they talk about counting sheep, that's where you just try to breathe and try to get quiet. That's regulating your nervous system. So remember last week's Magic Mondays, we were talking about a dysregulated nervous system and how to regulate it back. So that's where, after you're having a hard time getting back to sleep after dream, that's where you need to look and do some research on tools and techniques to regulate your nervous system and bring yourself back into that state of peace with your parasympathetic nervous system, to get back into that peace, which is rest and digest. So if your mind is in thought loops of everything you have to do, or going through everything you did, or a conversation you had, that is not the parasympathetic, that is the autonomic nervous system. That's the fight or flight one. And then the best thing to do is to get back into parasympathetic. I have to tell you, for me personally, when I cannot get back to sleep at night, I do Ho'oponopono. I just do the forgiveness prayer and I just allow it to come up because it's soothing for me. And there's always somebody that I need to do forgiveness work. And it's amazing how I don't think I need forgiveness work. I'll start doing the Ho'oponopono, and then, somebody like my third grade teacher will pop in, something interesting will happen. And about half the time, I end up falling asleep during Ho'oponopono anyway. That's one of my best tools to get me back to sleep. Okay. So let me see what Deborah says. Deborah says, so in that half sleep state, spirit can come in as well into a dream. Yes, I love this question, Deborah. Thank you so much for that. It's a beautiful question. Spirit loves coming into our dreams. Our higher self will also talk to us in our dreams. So it's not just our unconscious mind. It is when we are in that nice, relaxed state, before a dream, after a dream, right? We're not in the REM state, but we're right before getting ready to go into it. Spirit can come in and it can start whispering during that dream state. And spirit can actually help us have dreams that are for our highest and best good. That's where it can give us whispers of what, of things that are going to be helpful for us. Our higher self can also come and start whispering in those states, and can actually just hear in that time going into a dream state that says, what about this, and give us solutions to our problems, give us ideas and different perspectives. Spirit can talk to us in that beautiful dream state as well. So it's a very important time. Okay. And, sleep time is when our brains, our bodies are relaxing. We actually have our brains are washing our brains. They're cleaning out with neurochemicals and neurotransmitters and all kinds of things to be able to wash it and flush our brain and to get our body back into a state. And there's a lot of things that happen while we're sleeping as well. Okay. Okay.